Hey everyone, here today to bring you my version of Prophecies. It's a deck that has a lot of issues right now, in my opinion, because there's really no way to search for the monsters. I hope they'll release, I know they're releasing a level, I think it's 6 Prophecy in the next set. I think it's Reaper. He's actually pretty playable, very good. It allows you to play in a Chaos build a little bit easier. So we can talk about that another time. Okay, for now, as you can see, it's a pretty low monster count deck because of your spells. Your spells are pretty high, a lot of spell books. Your whole deck revolves around your spells. Your opponent gets out Naturi Beast and you're in some trouble. So I'll just run through it. Trag, you need something on the field to protect you when you take some damage or you're wide open. You can't run Gores because most likely you have Tower out. Your opponent is pretty much stupid if he destroys Tower on purpose. So it's pretty rare that it gets destroyed, because it only works if your opponent destroys it. Anyway, we'll get to that later. 3 High Priestess, of course. She's your boss monster. She's a great monster. Love her, how easy she is to get out. And you can just normal summon it if you have to. The reason I run Chaos Sorcerer over BLS is because it is a spellcaster and you can search for it. So, very good card. So, anyway, a little rusty on the deck. I haven't played it in a few weeks. I'm trying to think right now. Oh, yeah, Justice of Prophecy can search for her and, can search for Chaos Sorcerer. You run the 3 breakers because they're spellcasters, because you can protect them with wisdom, and you can reborn them, and you can do some of the things that you couldn't do with, for instance, Thunder Kings if you had them in the deck. Power can boost it up by 1,000 and so forth. So breakers are a great choice. That's why you don't see any MSTs in the main deck. And breakers a lot better than I realize. If I run a Chaos deck, I'm going to start putting breakers in. Justice, you run one of her. What she does is, as long as you use the spellbook during the turn at any point, you banish her at the end phase, and you grab a sorcerer or a high priestess to your hand and a spellbook. She's fantastic, but because she banishes herself, and you don't usually have a very big field presence, you only play one of her. Temperance is your major tool in your toolbox. He is the ability, or actually, excuse me, she is the ability to get a High Priestess special summon to the field. Very good card. That last ability you cannot special summon, that does stink. It's just part of the deal. You just kind of have to play smart. So in other words, you can't special summon High Priestess from your hand with 3 spellbooks and then summon Temperance and use the ability. You got to play smart, guys. But the reason you play 2 of Temperance is she can be cloggy in hand. You don't want to have a Temperance in your hand if you've used all your High Priestesses. As you can see, we don't run Avarice. It's just, because you do run Chaos and you do throw some things back in the deck. So, and you don't run a lot of monsters. Okay, the Spellbook Magician is extremely important at 3 because it grabs you any spellbook. Most of the time you're going to grab secrets, but there's lots of times you don't need to. Sometimes you need to get Eternity, so you can bring back one that's special summoned, or you need to get Life, so you can get a Priestess out of the grave. One thing that's great about this that some people don't realize is the only way to search a monster from your deck is Spellbook of Secrets to search Spellbook Magician, because it has the word Spellbook in the name. It is a prophecy monster, but it has Spellbook in the name, and it's the only one that's like that. So I wish they had done that differently. I really think the person who came up with this deck idea at Konami really screwed that up. They should have made them all Prophecy or all Spellbook, whatever. Or they need to come out with a Rhoda for spellcasters. Okay, Stoic, you have to run 1 because of the chance that your Spellbook Tower could get destroyed. But, people do play heavy. They just most likely never MST it. And you need Stoic in there. It's just important. Just run 1, trust me. And it's also not bad if you need to just set a card and you can grab your Temperance early, so Stoic's a great choice. You need to run one. Veilers because they are spellcasters and you can remove them with Wisdom. And for Chaos Sorcerer, when you don't want to remove a High Priestess, you need to run 2, at least. You got your staples here. I'm not going to say one of because you can't run more than one. I don't understand why people say that when they're doing deck profiles. You need dualities not only for the thinning, but the chance to get just the right card at the right time. This deck is already tier 2 at best. 2 towers, not 1. I tried 1. I actually played it with 1 and I did not like it. The only way to get it back is to remove it with a High Priestess and then to bring it back with Eternity. Or throw it back in your deck somehow with Tower if you had another tower out. So you're kind of stuck if you only run 1 tower. You can't, you just can't use Tower's ability in the grave. 3 secrets, 3 powers. A lot of people play 2 powers. I don't understand why they only play 2 powers. It's amazing. It is 1,000 boost, and most of your monsters are 1,600 or less. And it grabs you any spell card from your deck. How could you not run 3 of that card? Ridiculous. Yes, you have to destroy a monster by battle, but it doesn't say. It says just destroy by battle. It doesn't say and go to the grave. So you can even, it works around macro. You need to run 2 Eternities at least. Some people run 1. I think you should run 2. And the more you play the deck, I think the more you'll realize you do remove pretty often. Spellbook of Life is kind of like a Reborn, but it can bring back anything as long as you ban us as spellcaster. So the problem with Life is it's hard to meet the requirements. You have to have 2 spellcasters in hand, and you have to have this card and another spellbook in hand. So it's not easy to get that to work all the time. It doesn't sound difficult. You just trust me. Just run 2. Don't run 3. Spellbook of Wisdom is Lance. It's a specific lance, either spell or traps. But it does work on all spellcasters, like I said before, with Breaker. So Chaos Sorcerer, or whatever. That's why I don't run Lance. I also don't run Book of Moon. And I don't run some of the other traps that you guys might think I should because I run Magical Dimension. It is kind of like a Gemini Spark that special summons 1 from your hand. Well, I guess because you don't draw. But anyway, you can... I don't know. I just think it's easy. You get rid of a spellcaster on the field, you tribute it, and you special summon 1 from your hand. It's a good way to get rid of the High Priestess out of your hand if you're kind of stuck. And then you get to destroy a card, a monster on the field. It's such a good card, and it is a quick play. So a lot of great things can happen in battle phase and so forth. You could actually, attack again. Okay, and then just some basic lineup on your traps. I really don't need to go too heavily into the rest of the deck. You can kind of see what's there. I thought a lot about running Star Hall. I put it in the side because I think it's a good for the mirror match if that ever happens to you, because it says all spell monsters you control gain 100. And then the rest is pretty standard. I'd probably switch that up for like a Gemini Amp. That's kind of ridiculous. I'd take that out. Anyway, you can kind of see what I did there. You do need a big eye. I can't stress that enough. It's too good with Trag and High Priestess. Making 2 High Priestess into 1 does happen, and there's times where she's just not big enough, and you've already used her ability, or you can't use her ability. Maybe there's no more spellbooks in the grave. That happens quite often. She's a lot better than I thought she'd be. I mean, just a lot better. Just the fact that you can just blow up a bunch of back row. Pretty standard lineup here. Don't really need to explain any of this. This is better than Gotchi in this deck because it is a spellcaster, and you can use it with power. And Magical Dimension, whatever. Okay, just trust me. And then pretty standard lineup here. These 2 instead of Black Rose because it is a spellcaster, and it is a spellcaster. I just can't stress that enough. So this over Gaia, this over Black Rose. All right, guys, that's a prophecy deck. Let me know if you have any questions, or just don't understand some of how the combos work. It's very simple. You kind of need to be patient with the deck and make the right decisions on when you play this card, make the right decisions on whether you're going to, if you've already used some abilities during a turn, this is a good way to end your turn is with Wisdom. But if you're playing this opening hand so that Temperance works, for instance, then when you do this, grab Wisdom. That way when you summon the Temperance, you have a Wisdom in hand in case they need to they want to do something to stop it. I mean, it doesn't stop a warning or a judgment, but it stops everything else in the game, compulse or whatever, or it's not big enough for bottomless, but it or Priestess comes out and then they try to bottomless. So Spellbook's fantastic, and it's better than Lance because it doesn't lower the attack. So just try to learn the deck, make some good decisions. Be careful with what you banish for High Priestess, because Eternity, once you played your Eternities, the only way to get them to recycle is Tower. Try to grab that Tower early, because even if you only get to put one spell, let's say you play one spell book of Secrets, you grab Tower, and then the next turn you throw Secrets back in your deck to draw. This is your, it's not really a draw engine, but it's a draw utility, and I would use it as often as you can, guys. All right, thank you guys for watching. Click that like button. And if you didn't like the deck very much, don't click the thumbs down. Let me know below, and we can talk about it, and I can make a different version of the deck and play it and see how it runs. All right, guys, thanks for watching.